Hello, and thank you for tuning in. This video is about user interface of eControl Studio, and it supplements corresponding chapter of Diamond Edge user manual. To some degree, you can substitute reading our manual with watching this video. Different people have different preferences for information processing. Some like manuals, some like watching videos, so we give you both options. In the left part of your screen, you see the sections that we will cover in each video and timestamp for each of them. The current section is highlighted. This is to help you navigate within this video. The voice you are hearing is that of Andrei Larionov, Director of Economical Solutions Corporation. Our company designs, manufactures, and supports unique diamond engraving machines. Unlike lasers that burn the stone, our machines physically hit the stone with the sharpened diamond tip. This is why we call this process Impact Etching. Our machines are purpose-built for use in monument industry and are mostly used to put portraits and images on monuments and headstones. You can find more information about our machines by going to www.impactetching.com. The version of eControl Studio shown in this video is 2.0.2.79. You can always find out what your current version is by going into About screen and looking into the left bottom corner. If your version is lower than 2.0.2.79, you might consider upgrading it. Send me an email at sales@impactetching.com and I will send you the download link. If you're on the higher version than the one I'm having right now, that means you're watching this video few months after I made it, and by now you probably got yourself a newer version. But most of the information would still apply. We are trying to avoid significant changes to user interface, so if you're on the higher version, this video will still be useful. One important recommendation that I wanted to make right away is that many users of our machines install eControl on laptop computers as opposed to desktop PC. And most laptop computers have the thing called touchpad. I would advise you against using touchpad with eControl Studio. Please use mouse instead. Touchpad simply does not support the required precision of cursor positioning. It is very easy to press some button accidentally by just tapping on your touchpad. So long story short, please use the mouse, and also preferably use the mouse with scroll wheel. A scroll wheel will help you zoom in and out of your images with much easier. Project is the file that stores the layout of your future etching created within eControl. We recommend that you designate a special folder for project files and give them meaningful names. The extension of the project file is ECS, which stands for eControl Engraving Studio. So if I was to create a project and save it, it proposes the extension ECS. There are two ways to create new project. First, by pressing Create New Project button, just like I did now. I'll repeat it. And second is by simply opening any image file. At the time of creating this video, our program can open most popular image formats, namely JPEG and BMP. By default, the project is automatically created for you whenever you open your first image. The default name of the project is created as project_unique number. At the time you save your project, you can obviously give it any more meaningful name. So you just click on Save Project, choose the location to save it to. Again, in this particular case, I'll just save it on desktop, but I would probably recommend that you create a separate directory and you give it a name that will be easy for you to remember. And save. So naturally then any project that you created earlier can be opened later, and all of the layouts and images included in that project will be available, will be opened again. Canvas is best understood as the area of your future etching. It allows you to build the layout of your etching job starting from the area on the stone that you have available for your etching. Or another way to interpret canvas is you can assume that your canvas is actually matching the entire size of your stone. When you create the new project, the first question you ask is the size of your canvas. And once you specify that size, you can always change it later. For example, right now I'm creating the project and I'm specifying the size of my canvas as 12 inches high by 10 inches wide, for example. Now, this black area that I see in the preview area of my program is my canvas, and I can always change it by specifying different canvas size in this area that I'm pointing with my mouse cursor. For example, I want to change size from 12 to 8 inches. I can do that. Then once you specify the canvas, you start building the layout of your future etching by adding images to canvas. And images that are composing the canvas, or rather images that are placed on your canvas, are all visible in this area that's called Objects List. And you add images to your canvas by pressing plus button. So coming back to our Elmer Sperry memorial plaque that we used in the previous video, I'm going to select a couple of images now and add them to my canvas. So for example, I just selected this image. Since by default the image is much bigger than my canvas, so I need to make it smaller. Right, so add another one. Again, this one is a little bit too big. I'm going to make it smaller. Right, so this is the process of working with canvas. You are positioning your images within canvas any place you want. You can resize them, and all of the images that are part of your canvas are available in the right section of the screen. And all of these images or objects have their own different settings. So whenever you select each image, the object parameters displayed in this particular area that I'm circling with my mouse right now are specific for that particular object. So there's a number of buttons that I collectively call canvas operation, and I'm circling them with my mouse right now. Those are responsible for determining how the size of canvas is calculated. It is very important to understand how they work and what they can do. Once you watched my explanations about those buttons, I encourage you to stop this video and try them yourselves. Mastery of those buttons will save you lots of time when using our program. This button called Match Canvas to Layout matches your canvas to layout, as it says, by changing canvas size to include all images and nothing else. It will basically, I guess the right term, circumscribe the images by leaving no blank margins. So just watch what happens when I press this button. All right. Now, this is a one-time operation. That means if I, for example, happen to move one of my images outside of the area of current canvas, canvas will not get updated, but I can press this button again, and canvas will again change to circumscribe all of the images to include all of the images. Again, just to understand how it works, right? Just by looking at what I'm doing, you will immediately recognize how this function works, okay? Again, this is one-time operation. That means you need to press this button every time you want to match canvas to layout. If you want this kind of matching process to be automatic and perpetual, you can click this other option called Auto Match Canvas to Layout. Now, Canvas will always automatically match my layout, which is very convenient if you don't want to care about canvas and you want to kind of automatically track your image location. So notice how by changing the image location, I'm automatically changing my canvas size, and it gets reflected here in the canvas size area. Zooming in and out is another useful function that you might consider. So let's assume you've added some images and your canvas kind of became very big. To see all of it, you can just press Zoom to fit all images button, and it will show all of your canvas. Again, doesn't change the size of canvas, doesn't change the size of images. This is just about zooming. Then you can manually specify the zoom by adding, by changing value in the scale area. Or if you have the mouse with scroll wheel, another very convenient way to zoom in and out is to press and hold Control button, that is CTRL button, which is usually located in the left bottom area of your keyboard. So press and hold Control and then rotate your scroll wheel on your mouse. It's a very convenient way to zoom in and zoom out. So next section is how to use eControl without Canvas. Canvas is nice functionality, but for some users it might be more than what they need. Let us assume that you always etch single images and that you put your etching together in the other program. Let's say you use Corel to put your layout together. You don't care about the functionality of composing your etching out of multiple objects, and you just want to work with one image. If that is what you prefer to do, then you just permanently turn on this Auto Match Canvas to Layout function, and your canvas will always automatically track the dimensions of your image. For example, I want to work with one image and one image only. I open this portrait, right? Now my canvas always matches the dimension of my portrait. And should I, for example, change dimension of my portrait, Canvas will always track that dimension. Let's talk about coordinate system and how to position the images on canvas. So coming back to our canvas with two images, both Machine and eControl Studio use the Descartesian coordinate system that you must have studied in school. The origin of coordinate system is in the left bottom corner, just where my mouse points, and x-axis is horizontal, y-axis is vertical, and you can position any image by specifying the coordinate of its left bottom corner. So when you have selected any image in the list, what you see here in X and Y fields are coordinates of its left bottom corner. So for example, I can put 1 inch into X and 1 inch into Y, and my image will be positioned accordingly. And then obviously I can specify the different size. The size will change while the starting point of the image will stay the same, right? So as you probably noticed already, I can easily resize any image by grabbing those corners or the middle of each size, and just basically using the standard dragging function of windows. Or I can specify the size explicitly by just entering it into either width or height fields. As you notice, there's a keep aspect ratio parameter which is selected by default for all of the images. This is made to preserve the width to height ratio, which is pretty critical for portraits because we want them to look natural, right? That's why when the given image has keep aspect ratio parameter turned on, I cannot change width without automatically changing height, right? Because height will get recalculated to apply the corresponding, to preserve the aspect ratio. So I can enter width, then height gets recalculated, or I can enter height, then width gets recalculated. If I want to stretch the image in any dimension, which kind of works for many images, probably except portraits, I can just turn off keep aspect ratio. That allows me to resize my images, stretch them in any dimension if I choose to do so. There's a number of basic functions that you can do with images while creating the layout. One of them is you can center the image on the canvas. You can also center the image versus any of the sides of the canvas, right? And basically combining this operation allows you, for example, to center the image in the middle of each side. So you first center it in the middle of the canvas, and then you kind of glue it to one of the sides, right? Another operation that is quite often used is just mirroring the image. Sometimes you just need to turn the portrait, so then you can mirror any image. You can flip it upside down, right? Or you can rotate the image in the increments of 90 degrees. Obviously, the more advanced raster editing software can give you more operations in terms of what you can do with images, but these basic operations that we provide will actually suffice, we believe, for majority of applications. There are three methods of positioning your etching head at the starting point of your etching job. Method number one is use functionality of eControl Studio. Method number two, use the remote control that is provided with the etching machine and as part of its delivery. Method number three, use the Android apps on your phone that allows you to position the etching head wirelessly. Installation of Android apps and configuring of your machine to talk to it is a special topic that we'll cover in a separate video. In this video, I will concentrate on using eControl to position your etching head. Method number one that I mentioned. So you will need to open Control Panel by either pressing the corresponding button or by double-clicking on the machine icon in the left panel. Then, in case your machine is not initialized, you'll need to initialize it. Initialization is the process that is required for most CNC machines. It involves the etching head moving to the so-called home position so that machine can reset its coordinate system. On our machines, the home position does not match the origin of machine's coordinate system. For example, the origin of coordinate system is on the lower left corner, whereas the home position is in the upper left corner. The reason for this difference is purely technical and should not cause any inconvenience as long as you remember that the origin of machine's coordinate system is still in the left bottom corner. So I'm going to click Initialize button. At this point, you are prompted to make sure that there's no foreign objects inside of the machine frame that will hit when the etching head moves to its home position. Once you've confirmed that, you press OK, and the etching head moves to the home position. Once the etching head is positioned, you can move it in the horizontal plane by using this button that I'm highlighting with my mouse right now, and vertically up and down by using this button. You can control the speed of movement in the horizontal plane by selecting the corresponding speed with your mouse here. We have 3 gradations right now: lower, medium, and high. Or you want a continuous change in speed, then you just press this stepless speed adjustment option. And then you just move the machine in the horizontal plane, and this small diagram actually shows where your etching head is positioned right now versus the machine's etching field. Please make sure that you do not hit the stone or other objects located within the machine frame when moving the etching head. It can damage the etching head and void your warranty. One useful option is this one called Move to Position and Save Position. Sometimes you might want to position your etching head into some exact position that you want to have saved. So there's multiple ways to do it. For example, you can say that I want to position my etching head in the area where X coordinate will be 2 and Y coordinate will be 2 as well. Then you just press Go to Position and the etching head will move there, right? Or you might want to position your etching head into any position that you like. Current position is, by the way, displayed here in the left top corner, and then you press Save Position. It will save the current position of your etching head, and it will be displayed in these 2 fields. And then, regardless of where you move your etching head afterwards, at any time you can just recall that position by pressing Go to Position button, and then the etching head will move accordingly. It's a pretty useful function that there's multiple scenarios where you might want to use it. Let's talk about Material Definitions screen now. Material Definitions is a very important and probably the most complicated screen here. And there's a certain method to configuring your material definition to make sure that your etcher is perfectly calibrated. There will be a separate video on that topic which will talk about calibration of your material definitions. For now, I just want to concentrate on user interface, explain a little bit what material definition basically is about, and how to use this screen. So what is material definition? Material definition is basically the setting in which you tell the etcher how to engrave the particular image that material definition is assigned to. Conceptually, material definition is something that is assigned to every single image that is part of your canvas. And different images can have different material definitions assigned to them. For example, watch how drawing image has the material definition called modified Jarvis 127 dpi, and how I can choose different material definition for portrait, right? So I can basically tell the machine to etch different components of my canvas with different settings, which is, by the way, another reason why you might want to use the full functionality of Canvas, i.e. actually use Canvas functionality to put different images and to compose your whole layout in our program. It allows you to specify different methods of etching for different components. So back to material definition now, and just to explain to you, it basically just exactly that. It tells your machine how to hit the stone for each color. If you look at this lower area, lower left area of the screen, you see this graph. Let's just try to understand what it's showing. Every image that you load into eControl will ultimately, no matter whether that image is color or how many shades of gray it has, it will ultimately be converted into 256 grayscale palette. So what you see horizontally are colors on that palette. Obviously, color number 0 is perfect black. Color number 255 is perfect white. So that is horizontal scale. Vertical scale is the strength of hit. And this red line is nothing but the way to tell the program how strongly to hit the stone for each color. And intuitively, I hope you agree that for brighter colors, we need to hit the stone stronger. And that's why this line is kind of, I'm not sure, sloping from left to right. I guess that's the right term. It increases from left to right. For example, you can tell that for the color number 199, it will hit the stone with a strength of 589. This hit of strength that you see on vertical axis is basically some abstract value. It doesn't have any other meaning than just exactly that, hit, strength of hit. Okay, heat of strength. I don't think it's heat strength. Yeah, that's the correct name. So once you understood conceptually what this particular screen does, now we know how to adjust it, right? So the change in brightness parameter basically moves the entire curve upwards, thus increasing the brightness of all colors. And it's similar to increasing the brightness in your monitor, right? The change in contrast basically increases the slope of the line, thus creating the contrast effect. The whiter colors will become more pronounced, the darker colors will become even darker. Gamma parameter just increases the curve of the line, and positive values of gamma parameter, which we recommend, will basically create some kind of contrast effect to a degree. It will kind of, it will even more pronounced, it will create more pronounced amplification of white colors and move the black colors, as you can see, a little bit lower in terms of strength of hit. So that's conceptually what this setting does. And you can have multiple material definitions, which are, by the way, stored in the machine. They are not stored locally on your computer. All of the material definitions are stored in your etcher, which is actually a big advantage because you can connect your etcher to different computers without losing the settings, right? So if I remember it correctly, you can set up to 15 material definitions, and your machine is coming with 2 preset ones. Not only are they preset, they actually read-only so that you cannot change them. They are made read-only to keep them as reference points so that you can always come to those 2 material definitions that machine is delivered with and copy them into new definitions and then start changing them. You need to understand, though, that those 2 material definitions that machine is delivered with are factory configuration using the granite or stone that they had there. So different customers use different types of stone, so the configuration that the machine is delivered with will likely work for typical black granite, but it might not be exactly kind of completely what you want. So you might want to do more calibration based on those pre-configured material settings. How do you create a material based on pre-configured material settings? You just open one of them and then you click Create New and say my offset for, well, any name actually, for black granite. And then you click Apply, and the new material definition will be created by copying from the one that was open at that moment. The rule of thumb Basically, when you to answer the question, when new material definition need to be created, the rule of thumb is that you need to create new material definition for every type of stone that you use, so that once configured, you will just revert to that material definition whenever you switch from one type of stone to another. So let's just look at the other fields that we didn't cover yet. So the name of the material definition, as we already saw, is the name that you give when creating that material definition. It better be something that describes the type of stone for which this material definition is created, and quite often it's useful to also mention the resolution of this material definition. And you can change this name at any time by clicking Rename Selected. This field incorrectly called image resolution, I have my developers fix it. It's actually etching resolution. It's measured in DPIs, which stands for dots per inch, and it tells the etcher how many hits with the diamond tip to create per inch of surface. There's obviously a trade-off here. If you lower the resolution, then the hits will be too far apart from each other and your image becomes grainy. If you increase the resolution, then those hits with the diamond stone will be too close to each other and your image might become too washed out. It might become too bright and you might lose the halftones. Also, a very important thing to consider is that when you increase the etching resolution, the speed of your etching decreases. So there's always a trade-off between speed and quality. We typically recommend that you use the etching resolutions anywhere between, I would say, around 90 to 130. That range is kind of good. You can experiment with different resolutions, but keep in mind that going below 90 or 80 will likely reduce the quality of what you see on the stone, and going significantly above will significantly lower the speed of etching, and also you'll risk creating images that are kind of washed out. So double pass is what it is. It creates double pass on the stone. It improves the quality of etching under some circumstances. For example, on a less than perfect stone with a lot of sparkle and occlusion, there's this very important field there that I wanted to consider, this very important parameter, which is called use by default. One of the materials, sorry, let me just apply. One of the materials is always designated as default. For example, you can see that in my case, this material called modified Jarvis is designated as default, and that is the material that will by default get assigned to any new file that you open and add to your canvas. And you should be aware of that, because unless you go and specifically change the material to something else, it will always be your default material definition. Okay? Dithering method is a tricky and somewhat scientific discussion. The idea about dithering method is it is the method, or rather the algorithm, for how the machine translates halftones into hits with diamond tip. As a rule of thumb, we recommend that for the Diamond Edge series, you use Jarvis dithering method with a slightly increased resolution. And this one, for example, you see on your screen, Jarvis and 127 DPIs is pretty nice starting point for your material configuration. Another method that you can experiment with or try is offset. It is very good on perfect granite. Jarvis works on must granite types, and we definitely recommend to use Jarvis on less than perfect stone with sparkles and inclusions of like different colored materials. If you have a stone that is like perfect black, very high quality, offset typically will result in better halftones. We are always happy to hear from you, and many improvements to our software resulted from user feedback. If you encounter any bug in our software, we recommend or ask or beg you to let us know about it by sending email to sales@impactetching.com. You see my mouse here at the lower bottom of the screen pointing at that email. Or you can also leave us the message on our Facebook site, which is facebook.com/impactetching. And also, while you're at the site, please like us. We like to get as many friends as we can. So thank you for watching. That is it about eControl Studio user interface. The next video you're going to see and we're going to make will be about starting your etching job and about the very nice feature that we're very proud of, which we call perimeter walk. So stay tuned for the next videos, and thank you very much.